Okay, let's see. There should be sound. And there should be me. Hi, I'm Alex. Welcome to 52 Miniatures, a live stream on a Thursday. Usually I do live streams on Sundays. Sorry, I really need this tea. Yeah, usually I do live streams on Sundays, and then I had a thought this week, which was like, I wonder if I should have like a weekend where I can meet people in the flesh and not just through a camera. So I figured I'll do the live stream today instead and see how that works out. Does anyone watch live streams on Thursdays? Who knows? I guess we'll find out. But it's good to be here. Please also let me know how's this. Is the sound all right? I've got a bit of a different setup that I'm testing, and I realized the volume was maybe off. So please let me know about that. As Adrian said in the thing, the chat. That's it. Please don't forget to press the like button when you join the stream, because that helps out. George, good evening, Alex. Nice to meet you again. I painted my first mini with speed paints and wasn't happy with my result, so I tried the new Vallejo game color range. Very matte. Have you tried these? I have not tried any of the new Vallejo paints from the new range. I wasn't aware that they were out yet. Maybe they're out and about. I have from the old game range, and they weren't very matte. But I didn't know these were matte. And I've heard some people talk about the sort of contrast style paints, that they're sort of a bit thinner than what the Games Workshop Citadel paints are, that you might require more layers or stuff like that, which is, I don't know. I've got these ones. Sorry for it. I'm back. These ones, the instant paints from Scale Color, they're kind of a bit thin as well. And so when I heard that the Game Color ones were also a bit thin, I felt like, well, maybe I don't need them. I don't really paint all that much with contrast style paints. But however, the game range I don't really know why they revamped it. Maybe it wasn't selling or something. I know the original, if I'm not sort of misinformed, I think one of the original sort of deals with the original game color range from Vallejo was that it sort of had a bit of resin in it or something like that, so that the paint layers you put on there would become pretty hard, and your mini would be protected when on the table, and therefore it was the game range. What the new one is, I'm not really sure. Clyde Dashing says, "Oh, it's that guy." It is. Hi. John Ashley Smith, how are you doing? Checking in from South Ontario. That's difficult to say for some reason. Welcome. Stephen Rogers. Good evening to you too. Emily, I hope you're well. I haven't seen you in a bit. I hope you're doing good. Slinger Witch, hello. And Rusty Beetle from Louisville. KW. We've been through this, haven't we? Where's that? My brain is a bit... I've been doing way too many different projects today, pretty much all involving miniature painting, a few things for real work as well. but I've managed to end up sort of in a, uh, I think I'm doing 3 videos at the same time, possibly on the same mini. I'm not sure. Um, and it feels like I have elaborate planning, so elaborate that I don't actually understand what it is I should be planning, and it feels like I've just, hmm, it's interesting. I'm gonna be part of a book. There's a guy reached out, and he wanted me to be part of a book. So it's like a book with mini painters painting a miniature, and you get the book, and you're like, wow, oh, so that's how I paint a miniature, kind of a thing, which is fun. I've never been in a book with a miniature tutorial, so that'll be a first, which is fun. And but then I need to take sort of step by step pictures, like still images, and so I had to sort of do this massive setup, which is over there. You can't see it, that I'm not allowed to touch because otherwise, things will change, and yeah. And I'm painting those miniatures for that, and then I realized I can probably use the same miniatures for a video as well. So then, should I be filming that? Um, and so then I started to film I started to film myself setting up, where I'm going to take the pictures, realizing I could maybe make a video about how to take pictures of your miniatures. Uh, and it was kind of, downhill from there. And now I'm here after having spent about 1.5, 2 hours with a bit of a hobby hangout on the 52 Miniatures Discord with some of the patrons, which is lovely because it's always nice to. There, I actually get to see the folks on my screen. They're like, and I'm like, they're real. There's actually real people there, and I like them. And I like you too, but you're just text. You haven't got faces. And sometimes it's very nice when you're on this side of the camera to actually be able to see some faces on the other side. Yannick Girardin or something. Hello, everyone. It's our lucky day. Blizzard day here in the Canadian Arctic, meaning I can watch your stream. Excellent. Until sort of the internet blows away in the blizzard. Well, I'm glad you're here. Worst Vader. Worst Vader. Okay. That's what's that movie with the big hat-headed space balls? It sounds like Worst Vader would be in Spaceballs. Hey, Alex, first time catching you live on YouTube. I have to say I loved your video yesterday. Pretty relaxing and great insight into your process. Thank you. Yesterday's video was a bit of a surprise video also to myself. I painted. So Max sent me, I think a week back, he sent me the Turnip28 miniatures. That is now a Kickstarter that we're going to have. I've got more of them here. We're going to have a look a bit later on the rest of them. He sent me the files and he was like, what do you think? Have a look and, let me know if there's any issues with anything. And everything was fine and printed out great. And then I realized, wait a minute, Max is having a Kickstarter. I should tell people that Max is having a Kickstarter. And that I thought of, I got that thought on Tuesday. And I thought, what can I do in a day? Usually my videos take about 2 weeks to make. So what can I do in a day to just let people know that the Turnip28 exists and there's now miniatures and Max has a Kickstarter going. So I thought I'll just paint the miniature and I won't say anything because writing my scripts is one of, that can take a couple of days for me sometimes. And so that was fun. It was not intended sort of as I didn't really have any thoughts in what people would get out of it more than that I would, want to let people know that Max has a Kickstarter going for Turnip28. And I'm just glad that I've been getting a few comments that are like, wow, it was really interesting to see you just paint without editing out anything. And, good to see that my miniature looks pretty rough after 28 minutes as well, and I can just hide it all up with oil paints. And so that's been nice. Eugene, hello. Hope you're well as well. Zerobeat X says, "Hey Alex, did I see you at the?" Oh wait, it moves down. Did I see you at the Alpha Spell Figur Loppis? Which is yes, you did. That was a couple of 2 weeks back. Must have been almost. Which is my local friendly game store had a thing where people could come and sell their used miniatures. Like you've got a table and you put all your stuff there, and yeah, that was yeah. You did see me there. Yes, I was there. I bought some miniatures. I think if you check the last live stream, I talk a little bit about what I got from there. I also did some filming because I had an idea about, not specifically about that event, but a video topic that such event would fit into. So I also did some filming. Jamie Mayer says, "Good evening, everyone. Tasty newly minted stream like button. Get it while it's warm." Yeah, yes, please. Do like Jamie says and press like. It's a strange thing. I know it's repetitive and annoying to hear whenever you get onto YouTube that you should be subscribing and liking and all these things, but it's part of the algorithm thing. And if you actually do press like, then um, YouTube thinks that this is important and should be spread to others. Sometimes it's even the case that subscribers to my channel can't even see that I'm going live because there's just not enough hype. Ernst Weinholz says, "I'm hyped for some turnip talk." Excellent. We'll have a look at what I've printed, which is, I think, what you get in the Kickstarter. I think I've printed everything. I might be missing something, but I think not. Yeah, there is something missing. I think there's a hero figure missing. Anyway, but there's plenty of other things, so we can have a look later. Duke Cool says, "Good evening from the design office." Well, good evening from the miniature office. Josh Garner says, "My first live stream. Awesome." Yeah, I was saying earlier that I'm testing out streaming on just a regular Thursday, which is fun because there might be more of you that usually don't have the chance to catch a live stream, might be able to catch a live stream. It's a bit of a test to see, how many of you that actually can join in. It's difficult with live streams, and it's difficult to reach people. And while you're live, I think looking at some other channels, like when you have a larger subscriber count, then obviously more people join in. But also my streams go very much up and down in how many can join in. So yeah. Smurf in USA says, "All live, not even a Sunday. Almost missed it." Yes. Test. I'm gonna have Sunday off. Smurf in USA. Also Friday off. Usually I stream with my patrons on Fridays and with the YouTubes on Sundays. Now I'm just gonna do. I don't know what do people usually do on Fridays and Sundays. I haven't really done much on Fridays and Sundays for a while, apart from hanging out with awesome miniature related people. Maybe I should go to a restaurant or something. George says, and I think this is regarding the Vallejo range. Original range labels look kind of end 90s. Yes. Quite. We can probably, can I switch? Oh, it's not in focus because it's there we are. Yeah. That's the old labels. New ones are more modern. Probably the only change they made. Okay. Because I didn't really think these weren't sort of super matte. Um, but yeah, this is a great color. Livery green. John Ashley Smith says, I'm here because of your Stargrave video. I'm equally thrilled by the potential for weird models to add to my collection and for scenery building. Well, I think I have a tendency to see you in the Tabletop Minions live shows, right, John? I think so. I'm glad you're here anyway. I'm here because of Stargrave too. Somewhat. I'm actually painting two Stargrave miniatures right now. Is it kind of fun? I did that video and I was so excited about just being able. So for those of you that don't know, Stargrave is a sort of future set, as in there's spaceships and aliens and stuff like that. Future set sci-fi. Is there past sci-fi? Probably not. That would be fantasy. Sci-fi skirmish game. And the setting is there's been a big war that's sort of slightly post-apocalyptic, and you're traveling through space as either an adventurer or part of some old military faction or whatever, and you can play whatever race you want, whatever, you can buy whatever miniatures you want, and you have small skirmish games. So, not tons of miniatures, and you try and collect loot. Either physical or sort of data loot. And it's a game with miniatures. You play on a table. And I was very excited when this game sort of first showed up, and I made a video about it because the whole the setting and everything like that was very interesting, but also the fact that you could just use whatever you want. Before that, I came from a very sort of Games Workshop world where if you're going to play the elves, you have to buy the elves, and you have to buy our elves, and no, that elf hasn't got a crossbow, so you can't play it as a crossbow elf. It's very specific. You need the correct miniatures and all of that. You can obviously do whatever you want when you play Warhammer as well, but maybe not if you're in an official tournament. But I mean, I don't think all that many of us are. Anyway, it's sort of inbred in the culture, at least for me, coming from Warhammer, that you collect the right team, the miniatures, and that's what you stick to. And then all of a sudden I was like, what? You can just I can buy like one miniature from that company and one miniature from that company, and just pick whatever I want and put it in my crew and play Stargrave. This is fantastic. And so I bought tons of miniatures and I put together like the ultimate crew in my eye. And that sort of made me scared of painting them for some reason. And so because that was like more than a year ago. Is it almost 2 years ago? I don't know. It was a while back. And I still haven't painted that crew for reasons. It's like I'm blocked. But then I thought, and I've been going back and forth, how do I find the inspiration to paint these miniatures? Because usually I don't lack the inspiration to paint the miniatures. I lack the time to paint the miniatures. And usually what helps is having a story. And I tried to think of a story, and it didn't, I didn't work out. And I even started to paint them. I was like, because I Zenithal primed them, and I started to paint them with ink. So I was like, I'll just put some inks on there and see if I get inspired. And, nothing happened. Whatever I tried, nothing worked. And I started to talk about this with my patrons on our Discord channel that you can be joyfully engaged in if you join the 52 Miniatures Patreon. I'm sure there's a link in the description. And I thought, why don't I ask my patrons to write the story of each miniature and see if that inspires me? And it has. So I published 2 miniatures on our Discord, and one I'm in the middle of painting, and the next I'm going to start painting. I think I've got the idea for the color scheme in my head. And so my patrons write lots of different stories, and I sort of pick out the bits that I find interesting, and the backstory I came up with, which is everyone in this crew, they've escaped from prison, like if it's a prison colony or whatever space prison planet, and they escape together, and they're still sort of stuck together as a crew, and so they could be criminals, they could be war prisoners, they could be falsely accused, they could be political prisoners, whatever. They come from prison, and because of their abilities, they sort of had to help each other to escape from prison. That's the only sort of backstory, and the fact that some miniatures might have, if someone has a sniper rifle, then maybe this should be a sniper sort of in the story. But apart from that, and it's been great fun reading all the different sort of stories of my miniatures, and that has actually gotten me inspired. And so yeah, there will probably be a video on this. Hello, Christopher Jones. I'm way behind in this is what happens. I hold long monologues and fall behind in the chat, and then things usually work out in the end. Stretch says, "Hello, nice surprise for a Thursday evening." Yes, I'm hoping it's a nice surprise. KY is the state of Kentucky. Yes. Thank you, Rusty Beetle. I believe I forget about every other Sunday, and now I'm starting to remember. Emily Khan asks, "You used a beautiful deep turquoise paint on the Turnip28 guy. Was that an instant paint? And which one? So pretty." No. The one I painted the video yesterday, turquoise, the blue. Oh. What did I use? I cleaned my desk. I've got no idea, Emily. You should be able to see in the video, because I think I opened the bottles, don't I? But wasn't it? I don't know. I know it was a Payne's Grey that I used as the darkest shade. And then there was you're right, there was a blue, and then I used a sort of very pale skin tone to highlight that. Give me a sec, Emily. Did I use this blue? Was it this one? Could have been this one. This is a So Flat, Hurellen blue, something. I don't really know because it doesn't say on the bottle, because sometimes I'm smart and have great ideas, and sometimes I have less great ideas. But I know it was a Payne's Grey as a shade, and I used this sort of very pale skin tone with the blue to create the highlight shade. It might have been this blue. I'll have a look in the video, and we'll figure it out somehow. Rusty Beetle is asking, is the book by Dave Taylor? What book? Have I been talking about books? It's been a long day. I forget easily. We've got 2 teachers around. This is good. Hello from Mexico, Pendragon Studios. Hello to you too. Clyde says, "Oh no, he knows I don't have a face. I'm an elaborate construct of the imagination." Yes, it happens to the best of us. At least the burial will be cheap. Um, Smurf in USA says, Alex, isn't Max having a Kickstarter? Big shout out. Yes. I mentioned that a little bit earlier. Max is having a Kickstarter. The link to that Kickstarter is in the description of this video, I believe. And Stretch says also the music was excellent. Yes, thank you very much. I thought I'd smash a frog with 2 stones or something. Because if there is music in any of my videos, it's music that I made myself. And sometimes I've been doing a series where I paint space marines. That's the ones. It's called Making Money Painting Space Marines. See how we go with the making money part. But I paint Space Marines anyway. And I made a song for that video because I thought that would be fun. But it's always, I talk a lot, like now, and the music is always sort of on in the background. And people have been saying, "Oh, it'd be nice to be able to listen to the music without hearing your voice." And so I did that as well in yesterday's video. So you can sort of have it in your playlist somehow. Tomio says, greetings from Finland. What a great channel. Keep up the good work. Thank you very much, Tomio, and welcome. And hello, Foxtrot Games. Christopher Schlegel, I hope I pronounced that correctly. First time catching a stream. Really enjoy the videos. Thank you and welcome to the live stream. Zed Ramirez says, at least with the time now, we'll always know when the stream is over because Alex falls asleep. Yes, and it will be blissfully quiet, won't it? John Ashley Smith says, Turnip28 looks really cool and suitably grimdark for my tastes, and the modeling opportunities abound. If I ever see the rule book in a store, I'll be sure to acquire it. I mean, I believe the rules are free. I think they are free. If you go to the Turnip28 Patreon, I think you can get the rules for free. I don't know where I get this from, but I just think that is the case. I might be wrong, but I think so. So essentially, Turnip28 is a game and I guess a world created by a guy called Max. And I've been talking sort of on and off with Max for quite some time. He's actually an artist as well. He does illustrations, and I wanted him to paint something for me, draw a drawing, and do an illustration. But I kind of killed that project a little bit, or I pushed it forward, maybe indefinitely. I don't know. And but I've always liked his stuff, and I've always been intrigued by this Turnip28. It's essentially things get kind of serious sometimes with the different games and the different systems, and companies create games that take themselves seriously, kind of a thing. And Turnip28 is no joke, but it's it's just absurd in a way of a sort of Hieronymus Bosch painting. It sort of looks like it's Napoleonics, but it's actually in the sort of future. But it's sort of post-apocalyptic, kind of a weird thing. And turnips and other root vegetables are a big thing, and everything is just strange and weird in a very good way that I don't think we get a lot of very sort of stylized typical stuff, elves look like elves should look. No, that's not an elf. It's not skinny and tall and pale, and dwarves are stocky and have long beards, and everything is sort of in control, and the way things are, the way they always have been and should always be. We get quite a lot of that, and then sometimes we get the opposite, which is just fabulous weirdness and stuff like that. And Turnip28 is one of those things, which is why I think you should check it out. Austin Thornhill says hello from Los Angeles. Thursday stream is a nice midweek surprise. I know. Welcome. Okay. D for our case side Bob says, evening 52 miniatures. I'm new to figure painting. Any tips for an absolute beginner? I'm saying beginner. You wrote noob. For some reason, I don't enjoy the word noob. I don't know why. Any tips? Yeah, paint more miniatures, and you will stop being a beginner. I think it's a terrible tip, but it's like with anything. Just keep painting. There's something strange with miniature painting. There's several strange things with miniature painting. I'll just try and talk about the most obvious ones. But one thing is that it's sort of like a craft. So, like carpentry or whatever. And it means that there's actually, I mean, I remember when I started to not painted for the first time, but when I returned to the hobby just a couple of years ago, and the actual physical, like what I've taught my body to do with the paintbrush, the ability to sort of sit still and paint small details and stuff like that, it was not there when I started. My body wasn't actually physically able to do it. I felt that I had shaky hands. It was really difficult to get the brush in the right spot. There was no sort of brush control. There was no sort of physical memory of how to paint a miniature, which is the only way you can get that is by painting miniatures. It's not something you can sort of absorb through the screen of a YouTube video. And it doesn't take, it doesn't take years and years and years, but if you paint for a few months, or 6 months or something like that, I think you'll find that a lot of the stuff that is uncomfortable when you start, the paint just goes everywhere, and the pants were supposed to be blue, but I missed, and now they're all that kind of stuff. It won't really be there anymore. You'll be more in control just physically because you've started to teach your body what how to hold the brush and stuff. Another thing is that I think there's different types of people. Some people enjoy having like proof of concept, like a recipe. If I use these paints, this brown and this brown and this brown on a pair of boots, it'll look like leather boots. And so you look up sort of YouTube channels or blogs or whatever to find other people to tell you what paints you should be using and how you should be using them, and what brush you should use and how much you should thin your paints and all of these things. And I shouldn't be saying too much because I create videos myself, even though I try to sort of just do videos that make people inspired more than sort of specifically tell people what to do. Because I think the most important thing is to not listen too much to all of these other things that are out there. Obviously, if you need a tip, if something's like, this just never works, or, whatever. But I think one of the best ways to feel that you're becoming an okay painter is to be, finding how you like to paint miniatures, and finding sort of what you're comfortable with, and not just watching what other people, how they paint miniatures, and say, okay, so that is what I need to be doing, and then stick to that, and you realize this isn't much fun. Um, Obviously, you can try. Oh, that's what you need to try, and I like that, and whatever. But sort of, yeah, paint more minis and sort of have an open mind and just try and test things. And don't listen to. There's no wrong way to paint a miniature, really. So that was my tip for a noob. Adrian Gidding says, I don't know what to do on a Friday or Sunday because I'm also doing Friday and a Sunday things now or today. Yes, Adrian is a patron. And so he usually, hangs out with the hobby hangout on that we do on the Fridays, and then here on the Sundays. And now I've just completely ruined your week. Maybe not ruined, but you know, um, turned your weekend upside down, Adrian. I'm sorry. At least your shed will still be there and probably still needs work. We got a Swede in the chat. Diomyrama, welcome. Hit Scanner says, great hobby channel. Love your wit and atmospheric style. I appreciate it. Thank you. Just trying to find my way in the chat. I seem to have been talking, having a monologue for a very long time again because the chat has moved, and I have not moved with it. I think I really should have my glasses, but I also don't know where they are. That's a shame. Okay. Adrian says Star Wars is past sci-fi. You're quite right. Good call. In a galaxy far, far away, a very long time ago. Yes. We've got both Portugal and Yorkshire joining us, which is pretty good coverage there. John Ashley Smith says, yeah, creating a backstory for my crew, we're going back to Stargrave talk here, is going to be a lot of fun, but will take a bit of consideration depending on what type of character models I acquire. Which is a fair point. I think that's one of the where I sort of also got lost a little bit with the story first, because I tried to make up a story, but my crew was so just they're so different, from each other, and that kind of got me a little bit stuck. I think that's why I went with also the sort of prison setting, because criminals come in all flavors, I guess. Hit kind of says, please do a moody assassin grimdark diorama. Is that a very sort of specific 40k assassin style thing, or just any assassin? Is my question. Princess Damien, how are you? I hope you're doing well. Adrian Gidding says cerulean blue. Yes, this is cerulean blue. I'm wondering if that is the one I used. Yeah, that is cerulean blue though, so flat. Stretch says that's the trouble with tidying up. Tidying up, half your memory goes somewhere you can't find it. Yeah, and I think usually when I film videos, um, even though if you don't see that, if I sit and paint and I use this paint, I always just do this first, and then I use it, and then I know at least when I'm editing and stuff like that, I always know what paints I've been using, like the blue without the label. But this time, I painted the miniature for 28 minutes, and then I did the oil washes. And I think I realized about when there was about 9 minutes left that 28 minutes passes that it passes fast, and I should just sort of concentrate on trying to get paint on all of the miniature, so that there's not at least not too many just not colorless spots. And probably at some point I stopped just even thinking of what paints I was using. I was just like, okay, the pants are going to be blue, and I just picked the blue that was in front of me, because otherwise I tend to have at least kind of a slight memory function. Not really. My memory's really bad, honestly. But yeah, I I I think the setting made things worse, Emily. Yeah. Plastic Panzer Factory. Well, welcome. I hope you're well. Asking if I ever gave the Mechanicus soundtrack a listen. Also, Dark Tide has some phenomenal Warhammer music. I didn't actually. I know you linked it on the Discord after a chat, and no, I didn't. But I'm glad you reminded me. I'm going to write myself a note, because I mean I'll remember. My memory's fine. We were just talking about that. And the note is just because it looks nice when I type right. What were we talking about? Mechanicus music. Can you link it in the chat here as well? Plastic Panzer Factory. Maybe if other people get curious, they can see your link in the chat. I promise I won't ban you if YouTube allows you to link things in the chat. You should be okay. Detail1 says, reporting in to say that I am tuning in to the Thursday stream. I wouldn't otherwise catch in time. So you mean Sundays you wouldn't be able to catch it? Okay. Princess Damien says, I don't think the turnip game is for me, but I do love the whimsical nature of it all, and the art and minis are great. Yeah. I mean, I admire the ability to create a concept like that. Is fabulous work by Max. When someone creates something that you look at it and you kind of feel like it's always been there. It's got a natural place in this world, which is it's cool to be able to create something like that. Should we have a look at some of the minis? I was actually having a hobby hangout with. I already said that. I think this is going great. With some of my patrons before doing this live stream, and it was like 15 minutes, and I thought, oh, I should start rigging stuff. And so this camera usually I have set up a little bit better. I just didn't have the time today. It's not even on, is it? Oh dear. Now it is. But we'll do. I'll do what I can. So this you should. Okay, let's see. There we are. This is straight off the printer. For those of you that have seen yesterday's video, that is a musician that I painted, and that came out as like a set mini. same as this would obviously be the standard bearer. I'm guessing. Have a look at that. Look, there's someone up in the barrel there. That's fun. And so that would obviously be the standard bearer. And I believe there's a champion as well. I'm not sure I have printed that. But then the rest of them are like, you know, lots of bodies. Sorry, my hands are everywhere. Lots of bodies or torsos or whatever you want to call them. And then you have options for heads, like it's like a skull with a Napoleonic hat, or I love these beaky. Well, these are sculpted by a lady who calls herself Saint Decent, whom I adore as a sculptor, and well, we've only talked a few times, so I don't know if I adore her as a human being, but she does seem very nice. She's in a previous video called The Monster Hunter, I believe. She designed miniatures that I really like, and I wanted to talk to her about them when doing that video. She's also designed these, not designed, that's Max. Sculpted is what I'm trying to say. So there's these great sort of beaky headed. Can you see this? I'm sorry, my setup for this wasn't the best, but I was busy having fun painting miniatures. Sort of beaky head with a twist, and then there's arms like that, or arms just on your shoulder like that. And these are all like different style of bits. This arm and that gun is not like that arm and that gun, and these are not like, it's all individual stuff. And then we've got all these great backpacks. I think one of the things I like the most about these backpacks, about these miniatures, is the backpacks and just the stuff that is on the backpacks. Because finally, like, people have spare boots or whatever, and teapots and pans, all this kind of stuff that is usually kind of missing from wargaming. I think this might be someone. Is that a pair of socks drying? Maybe. And then obviously there's root vegetables and stuff. I think, is that garlic or is that potato? Maybe that's garlic. But there's also, like, there's carrots here and there, and yeah, this one's great. Look at that thing at the end of that. It's like a hooked bayonet. Real fun. I'll just jump back like this for a little while. No, wait. Okay, yeah. It's just I love them, and so obviously this is all sort of customizable. So you could kind of indefinitely put different heads on different torsos with arms doing different things with different backpacks, and build up quite a lot of different looking sort of forces. You also get an array of root vegetables. Something that surprised me, because when I these are all printed on my Sonic Mini 8K from Frozen. It's why it looks so great. I can honestly say that I love that printer. But when I was looking at these, and I was going to sort of rip the supports off, I was actually a little bit worried, because I thought this is not going to sort of I'm going to rip stiff stuff off. I thought kind of thought there was too many small details that wouldn't make it, but they did. It was fine. Like there was it printed fine. The supports came off great, and there's still these. Let's see if I can. Let's see. Can you see like these small sort of flintlock thingies? All came out intact on all of the guns. See those small things sticking out, and like spikes, all that kind of stuff. There was no problem at all sort of removing the supports from those things, and they were still sort of stuck, which was great. Any questions, please ask them. I'll get to them in about 45 minutes. If you want to see something, please just let me know. Alex Rowley says, free rules. Yeah, I agree. And I believe I mean, I've seen the Kickstarter. It's going well, I guess. It looks like it's going well. In my eye, I don't know much about Kickstarters. But I think there is like, you stretch goals, which is the thing on Kickstarter. Like when enough people back something, there's more things happen. And so I think part of the stretch goals was like more gun options, like actual shooting guns, because this is either, I think, sort of holding like this or holding like this. I think one of the stretch goals was more shooty type poses. Alex Rowley says, super looking forward to the official models, which are these. Have a few bashed ones already. And that's kind of how it started out, which is cool as well. Was like, Max created this sort of concept and a world, but without the miniatures. And you could, buy sort of Napoleonic type miniatures and put your own head, kit bash your own. And that was very much another cool thing about creating this world where people could get inspired to kit bash these weird creatures and people. But I think this is very cool as well, because I think at some point you reach, you created an audience that would love to have some, some of these type of models as well. But you also might, eventually you reach a point where maybe you people start to get interested in the game, but they're not the kit bash type people. They want to be able to find miniatures for the game without having to build them themselves. And so, this is great. Which is something Nick Holmes points out here a bit later on. I almost feel like the official models kind of defeat the point of Turnip28, which is the kit bash thing. Greetings, Lockmoy. And this is like the way of many things, I think, in the hobby is different people like different things and fall for different things. It's like I noticed that when making videos is I can make a video on a specific subject or a specific way of making a video, and someone might join the Patreon just because of that video, because they're like, I thought this was great. And then maybe I don't make another video on a subject like that until like a year later, and that can disappoint that person a little bit, or they just wait for a year and then they're happy again. But we all have our own sort of interests. So you could have originally been interested in Turnip28 because you thought, wow, I can build these really cool models, and then you won't really be interested in like a Kickstarter with official miniatures. But then there's the opposites where like, oh wow, I really like this, you want to play this game, but I don't like kit bashing. Christopher Jones says the Kickstarter models are lovely. Thanks for the heads up. I backed it and got the local gaming club suitably excited to give it a bash. Great to hear. I was going to say I'm not very good at acrylic. Hello, Keisha. I hope you're doing well. Okay, my chat. Oh wait, there's like robots. And am I the admin today? Oh dear. Report unwanted commercial. No, let's go for, what is it? 69. I shouldn't be saying this, should I? Future dating. That's not, is that pornography or is that unwanted commercial content? Let's go for unwanted commercial content. There we are. And then report. Promotes terrorism. No, it doesn't. I'm sorry. I'm just trying to have a bit of a laugh about the spam. But what happened was my chat jumped again. So I don't know where we were. Here we are. Ian Latimer says, good morning from New Zealand. Just caught the stream at work. Please, no loud noises. I'm just jumping on the table saw. Very happy to listen to you. Love your work. Thank you, Ian. Nice to know that I'm in New Zealand. Does that? This is the planet. I'm mentally crossing the globe, trying to realize that it's in your morning tomorrow. You're in tomorrow. You're not past sci-fi. You're future sci-fi. Hello, Mark from Montana. Welcome back. And TFTF. I hope you're doing well. Welcome. Gary Jensen says, I need a pair of glasses just to find my glasses. Yeah, I actually don't. I don't have too much of a sort of depth problem. I don't know what it's called in English, astigmatic or something. It's like one lens is curved slightly one way and the other slightly curved the other way. So they're sort of they work against each other, and a lot of times that's fine. It doesn't bother me. But I felt now that my eyes were starting to get tired, which usually they just do that some days. But wait a minute, I see them. Give me a second. Oh, look, it's the smart Alex. I'm reading something about pizza, but I don't know why. Has this got anything to do with pineapples? Because otherwise, we can always have pineapple on our pizza. Cody says, hello from Iowa. I love your videos. Sadly, your voice is so soothing, I fall asleep. I'm kidding. Your videos are awesome. I appreciate the production value. Well, I appreciate you letting me know, Cody. Thank you very much. You tried the Plastic Panzer Factory, asked you to post a link, and he says links are useless in this realm. I guess it didn't work. Hello, the end. Welcome. Lord Biscuit the Tossable, welcome as well. Hello, Alex. I have briefly checked out the Kickstarter. Very much gives the impression of Slay the Spire and other roguelikes. Yes. There was someone said today in the Discord, or was that yesterday, about a game to play with the miniatures. Forbidden Psalm, is that a game? That is a game, right? I thought it sounded like a good idea. I'm sorry, I'm terrible with games and names. There's so many games, I just forget the names of them. Hmm. George Miro asks me, what resin are you using for these? This is using the Frozen's the Frozen 8K resin. So it's rather brittle, but very nice details. I like how things come out of the printer. It's almost been a bit too crisp, a bit too sharp. So I started messing with the anti-aliasing. There's no more aliens in my printer. No, sort of had to soften things as little as I could set the settings, and now I'm just happy. Now I just I just press play and I just print things, and things never go wrong. And so that's a big sort of endorsement to give to Frozen. But I haven't tried any other resin printers, and I don't really want to. I don't see the point. Clyde says, I like that it's not overly repetitive work. Each Turnip Trooper is unique. Yeah, they are. I mean, the only repetitiveness is like the stance. These are like, it feels like they're sort of marching slightly, falling over because of the weight of the world on their shoulders, kind of a thing. But that also sort of, I mean, it fits so well if you, when you picture an entire squad, in front of you, and everyone is, like this, is just great. And then if there's, stretch goals with more weapons like this, so I haven't actually checked out all the stretch goals. I'm happy with this, but. That's the only repetitiveness I can see in this, is the stance. But that also feels like the point. Sorry, these are supposed to be, it's not a skirmish game. You have more miniatures in the one squad, and the point that they sort of look like this is, I think, the point. That went well. Emily says, I love the whimsy and weirdness of Turnip28, and I really want to go to town with applied tufts and streak and grime. Yeah, I mean, because of the setting, you would have, if you've seen the video yesterday as well. Griming these down is very suitable. If you use oil washes, or if you use, enamel, streaky grime stuff, it just suits the mood very well. Martin Cobb, hello, Martin. Welcome. Martin is a mechanic or something. You can see the tool next to his name. No, he's actually a lovely admin, both here and on the 52 Miniatures Discord. And Martin is asking the real question we all want to know the answer to is, when do the Christmas decorations go up in the bunker? I'm not sure if I'm much of a Christmassy decorations person, Martin, but please forgive me and don't leave the Patreon. Maybe I could stretch to like a Christmas jumper. I don't have one. I could gimmickly buy one. Yeah. I kind of like the grayness of my bunker, and the fact that it's deprived of jolly Christmassy things. And hello, Bill making stuff. How are you doing, Bill? I hope you're well. For those of you that have not seen that combination of letters before in a name, which is Bill making stuff, please do go check out Bill's YouTube channel. He is a wonderful creator of all things crafty kind of stuff. X-Troopers9 said, backed it last night. Cannot wait to get the files and start printing. Do you have any riflemen assembled? I love the painted musician you did. No, but I hope you saw what I was doing here. I mean, I could... If I get the super glue, that doesn't... It's like... There's like different types of super glue. There's like super glue that is super fast, and then there's super glue that isn't super fast. But also not as brittle. But as so happens, for times just as these, I have some super fast glue. Is there anything in here? Oh, yes, there is. Okay, yeah. Let's glue a trooper. See how that works out. Okay, 2 arms. And that slides on nicely. And okay, it wasn't super. Can you be super, please? There we are. Sort of. And then let's pick a nice head. Should we do we'll do one of the heads with the Napoleonic hat thing. Whoa, that was a lot of glue. If I just put some of that on the back, we can probably use the same glue for the backpack. Come on, just stick. And we need a backpack. I think, yeah, that fits. Ooh, this backpack has a hook on it. And half a shovel, also a bit of support that hasn't come off, which is my fault. I think that is a bit of a I was a bit fast with these. But there we are. Here is a assembled thingy. Now, how do I... bloody camera. What if I... There we are. Is that better? Okay. I know the lights aren't great down here, but you know, here's one. And standing, I don't know if it can, not really, but it would look kind of like that. So that was one of the options. John Ashley Smith says silver bayonet looks as if some of the models would be compatible with Turnip28. Definitely. And same thing with I mean, the same sculptor there, Kelsey, Saint Decent, that I made my sort of silver bayonet video on, which is called the Monster Hunter. You know, I used her miniatures for that. And I would definitely use those miniatures for silver bayonet as my crew. and these would definitely suit as sort of risen Napoleonic zombies if you want to. Um, Rick de Lorenzo says, "Is this a war game?" Yes, this is a war game. Trying to find my way in the chat again. I do apologize for the silence. Martin Cobb says, "Remember, if you are in position to be able to spare a few dollars, pounds, euros, you can support Alex on Patreon. www.patreon.com/52miniatures. This is correct. Thank you, Martin. And yes, this is a bit of a thing at the moment. I know people are less, got less money in their pockets at the moment. Something I definitely understand because it's happening to me as well. But if your pocket isn't empty, please fill mine. C. Elvana says, "I have terrible diplopia. I hope it doesn't, spread or something. I don't know. Which is fancy for double vision. Okay, plus an astigmatism. We're talking about glasses now. Lovely. I was kind of wondering what I was starting to read here. Bill making stuff. Yes, Bill. I know. I always forget the chat is delayed by 15 minutes or so. Yeah, and now I've changed my system a bit here, and so things are not actually delayed now. I can see myself in real time on this screen. Now it's just delayed because I have these long ramblings about, I guess life and death and love and no, not really. It's just rambling, and so then I never catch up. But yeah, Adrian says, "A smart Alex that everyone likes. There's an exception to every to every rule." You mean the glasses? Yeah. Unfortunately, they don't make me really likable. So, but maybe smarter would be handy. Martin Cobb, what link did we want posting? Yeah. See, Martin is fixing stuff. Thank you, Martin. I've missed you, Martin. Where are you? What are you doing? Are you working and stuff? Missing you. Goodbye, Christopher Jones. I hope you have a nice evening. Clyde Dashing says, "Could green screen the decorations?" Yes, but then I need to get a green screen. I think I have a green screen button thing on here, but as you can see, it doesn't really work because there's no green screen, and I haven't taught it what to sort of key out either. But this is pretty suitable for the bunker. It's like, but yeah. Hello, Stephen Binns, and welcome. Hope you're well. See, Martin has also posted a link to Bill making stuff. Yeah, whatchamacallit, YouTube channel, which is great. Thank you, Martin. And hello, Narsin. Hope you're well. TF says CA glue with activator for the world. Yeah, I've never actually dabbled with activator apart from using baking soda as an activator, but then you're left with sort of the crunchy the crunchy bits, the texture. I've never sort of played around with that. That comes out of aerosol cans. Whoops! I just pulled a. Sorry, I shouldn't. It had a backpack before I started fiddling with it. This is why I don't really like these. It's fast even without the activator, but it just doesn't stick. Using stuff like this, which is a little bit gooier, just takes longer to dry, but things really just stay glued on. So let's use that one instead. This, by the way, is a trick that I picked up from Luke from Geek Gaming Scenics. Please, kids, don't do this at home. But no, the trick that I'm about to share with you was life-changing. A life-changing event, thanks to the one trick that I'm about to show you as soon as I've properly glued that backpack on. So you know how when you have super glue and you have your glue to your super glue, and you glue something and then you put the lid on, like so, and then the next time you're going to glue something, you open the lid and no glue comes out because the glue has sort of hardened into a blob up top and created a block. And so you start sort of scraping that off, and then eventually you start cutting down the plastic and so on and so forth. If you actually don't press the lid on completely, you can hear it's kind of loose, and just leave it like that. Same with this one. I'm not closing it completely. I'm just leaving it like that. Then you don't get a block, and the super glue doesn't dry. It's like magic. So now every time I pick up my super glue to glue something, the glue just comes out. No blockage. You can thank me later. X-Troopers 9, you're welcome. Yeah. I wish I had a bit of a better setup, but at least you get to see a little bit. I'll just hold it like this for a while, and you can watch it. Rick Di Lorenzo asks, "Do you plan on playing this game?" Not right now, actually. I have a very long list that I started years ago of games to play, and I'm still on game. I reached game number 2, I guess. I think there's another 2 games until I can sort of clear the list. Maybe another 3. So I take a long time painting miniatures, so I decide to play a game like Age of Sigmar from Games Workshop, and painting an army takes like a year, and then I get to sort of play the game, and so I do that, and it just takes a very long time to get to play the game because I take a long time painting the miniatures, and that's just the way it is. I've come to terms with that. And so maybe at some point I will play Turnip28, but it's not going to happen tomorrow. Trudy Hell says, "How can we poor sobs with no 3D printer get our claws on the Turnip28 models?" Go check out the Kickstarter. I believe you can get like a physical pledge So you get sent 3D printed models that someone else 3D printed. See, Martin already answered that. Thank you, Martin. Mark Flanagan says, huge fan of the channel, Alex. Been enjoy watching it develop, and you've made it something unique this past 24 months or so. Feels about that since I first came across. Keep up the great work. Well, thank you. Yeah, that would probably be pretty true. I've been able to spend a lot more time with the channel. I'm going to put this down now. Because of the pandemic, because that slowed down my regular work. And yeah, that's been fun. I hope to continue in years to come. So thank you. I asked Martin where he's been. He says, working, then baby, then just sitting in the dark. No, cheer up, Martin. You should paint some miniatures. It's good for you. Mark Flanagan also says that besides family and a day job, a lot of work, which I guess with the channel you mean, and such a great community. Yes, I think the community is that's something the videos is like, yeah, I do the videos. I have it's fun, and I love the hobby, but the community thing is not only I guess a little bit of a surprise, but a great thing that I'm very proud of and happy to be part of as well. So a big thank you to everyone that's here in the live stream today. See, Alvana says Gorilla Glue gel, CA glue is my go-to. Yeah, that would be, because I think this is not the same, the Army Painter, but it is rather jelly, similar to the Gorilla, even though the Gorilla feels just better, just because there's a Gorilla on it. I don't know how that works, but it works for me. Martin says Monument Hobbies CA glue is my go-to. I didn't know they had glue. I don't think I can get a hold of that. I know my local friendly game store sells Monument Hobby paints now, but only in like the boxes. And the Monument Hobby boxes are there's a lot of paints in the one box. So it's quite the investment. But I don't think they sell their glue, honestly. John Ashley Smith says, when I drill and pin my models, I sometimes reinforce the joint with the blob of green stuff putty. None of those joints have ever loosened or come apart. Do you do that with all your miniatures, John? Or are we just talking like metal miniatures? Because I think that's... I've been with my Warhammer, I usually pin the miniature to the base. But that's about it. Because otherwise I use plastic cement, and that, really molds everything together. And with metallic miniatures, I've always pinned, because otherwise it's just going to come off, really. That's just the way it is. But then I just use regular, this kind of CA glue, I think. But then usually there's gaps and stuff that needs to be filled, and there I use like Milliput and green stuff, which helps keep things together a bit maybe later on. But I never actually put green stuff in the thing. Hmm. Adrian Giddings says, "Can we get you a macro lens so the minis will be huge on screen, but mainly out of focus?" You mean like in the other of my videos, or like slightly off to the right and out of focus? I think it's around here somewhere. Here's me macro. I've got one, but it's just so long. I've got one, but it's long. But yeah, okay. Moving on. See, Alvana says, "I've been painting miniatures since 2019 and only played one game of Frostgrave. This is known and bound to happen sometimes. I think for many different reasons. Some of us have more of a gamer inside of us. You know, with the people who are in the hobby mainly to play the games, and there's the opposite of people who are just in the hobby to paint, and everything in between. And I think they are all also subject to you know how our surroundings are. If you live somewhere where it's difficult to get a hold of someone to play with, you're probably less likely to play games. Or if you're in a situation where time is, got little kids and it's difficult to go away for 5 hours on the weekend just to push little plastic soldiers around on a table with a friend, you know, 20 minutes painting in the evening when everyone's gone to bed is easier to handle. But I wish I played more games. But, maybe one day. Stephen Bin says, "I take so long painting miniatures that my chosen game has a new rule book or several before I finish a chosen faction or force." Yes, I can. I'm still working on my version number 2 of Stormcast, and if they come out with new rules every 3 years, then yeah, at least 1.5 years will have passed before that army is on the table, I think. Oh wait, there's money has been donated. Swedish money, says Tobbe Ström. Tack för en fantastisk kanal. Keep up the good work. That means thanks for a great YouTube channel. Thank you for the donation, Tobbe. I very much appreciate it. I can now have an adult beverage on my, free Friday, which is tomorrow. So thank you. Okay, trying to find my way in the chat. Ben Puffer has a question, which is something I mentioned a little bit previously. We were talking about it. Do you think official Turnip28 miniatures go against the kit bash and DIY spirit of the community has formed around? No, I don't really. As I said previously, I think that several reasons. One is we always fear change, And so if you're in something and you're like certain of what that is, and that thing itself changes, then uh, we usually don't like it. So if you're in like, I've picked this game because there's this crazy community of kit bashing and all of this, and then all of a sudden there's official miniatures. What's that all about? Is could be a, you know, a reaction. I think the way I see it is, one is this can bring people into the game that don't like the kit bash thing, and bring them into the universe. Maybe they start kit bashing when they find that, you know, community, and the community of kit bashers grows. Um, uh, this is also bits, you know. Um, there's backpacks, there's heads, there's guns, there's arms, all kinds of stuff. You know, you don't actually have to assemble them. Obviously, that's the easiest way to go. But it is in fact also bits that can be used for kit bashing. So I just see pros and not very many cons. ITS Bomb says, I've had my turnip army built for about a year and still haven't played. These things happen again, as we're discussing the playing game thing. Is it because you don't have someone to play the games with? Because that can usually be a thing, especially if it's a small game. I know it's annoying, but one thing one can do is paint two armies, so that you can have people over to your place, or you know, you can bring it to the games, to a game store if you have one or whatever, and you can show people the game, and you can, you know, because if there's no one in your area that plays Turnip28 and you only have one army, the likelihood of you ever playing with that army is not very big. But if you make another one, then you can invite people into the game, which is a nice thing. Ian says, I've joined the Patreon, but unsure on how to join the Discord. Do I need an invite? Welcome, Ian, and thank you. I think you should have been sent an invite from Patreon. If you haven't and can't find it, message me on Patreon, and I'll just give you a link, an invite link. Matthew Kerrigan says, Alex, I really enjoy bolt action, not huge armies either. Yeah. So I played games with my neighbor Carl, who's no longer my neighbor, but we still live very close because I moved house, but we're still in the same area. And now I haven't met Carl for quite some time, and we haven't played games together. But I really should, you know, reach out and see him soon. But I think he's been playing a bit of bolt action, and I know, I mean, somewhere inside of me, there is some kind of a historical gamer in me, I think. If that's Romans or you know, Second World War, I don't really know, but there is something with that twist of historical gaming, and I have seen bolt action, and you know, so I guess that's game number 6 or 7 I should be trying. That's just, you know, a minimum 6-7 years into the future, which is not that much if you come to think about it. Marcus Stratus, good evening. I hope you're well. Welcome. TFTF, and here is some money for the water after the adult drink. Thank you. I really appreciate it. It's Yeah. Thank you. ITS bomb, yes, as you said, it's part of it. I need to build a second army to show folks. Yeah, I mean that is, it is a downside. To playing smaller games is a lot, as in they're not the most popular games. Um, a downside is finding players, but it's not impossible. It might take more work, or actually trying to find someone who isn't into games like war games, or don't know that they might actually enjoy it, and just try and start convincing people to you can try it. It's like a board game. It's just a bit more dice and stuff. Converting people to the cause of righteous miniature stuff. But like the easy way out of like going to a game store, or actually meeting someone and they go, "Oh, you play Warhammer?" Yeah, kinda. Turnip28. Oh, really? Well, I play 40k. Yeah, you know. Um, so it's one of the downsides with the smaller games. But I don't think that should stop us really from playing the smaller games. And yeah, but if you're dead set on trying to play games, and you want to play Turnip28, another army sounds like a good idea. Marcus Stratus says, "I'm going." Marcus Stratus says, "It's fast. I'm going to be building a second Titan Legion so I can have friends over to play the one game I play." See, it's a good thing. But how many do you need of the Titans, Marcus? Uh, and like how big a gaming area do you need? These things intrigue me. Martin Cobb says, "I have two Lord of the Rings armies now, and I thought I'd try and get my friends to play it. Both are unbuilt and unpainted." Yeah, see, that's the thing. I guess start with army number one, and um, move on to army number two. But yeah, it's a lot of work. How big is a Lord of the Rings army? They're not huge, right? Aren't they like a little bit in between an army game and a skirmish game kind of a thing? That's one of the good things about a skirmish game. To introduce someone else to a skirmish game might only require painting like another 10 miniatures and not another 50. Um, but yeah. TFTF says, "I hope I soon find the time to paint up my black powder, red earth stuff, some ultra modern wargaming." I must confess, I've not heard of it, but it sounds it sounds explosive. John Ashley Smith says, "Whenever I get to a game, I always build at least two forces in order to teach any potential new players." Yeah, I mean, for me, it would be a hindrance if it's an army, because it's like also, yeah, um, that'll take 2 years, you know, a year per army. But I guess I mean yeah, totally depends. If I would just paint an army like I painted that miniature that for the video that was released yesterday, then obviously it wouldn't take a year to paint an army. I just paint for different reasons usually, and that is not something that ends up being very fast. I don't really enjoy painting things just repetitively or fast. It's not. I'm just not that kind of a painter. I enjoy painting like one-off miniatures and just doing whatever I feel like, and that might be something that is swifter or something that takes more time. And so there's the prospect of like, I actually watched. I watched Emil's latest video today, Squidmar, while I was having lunch, and it was the Henry Cavill's Dream Army uh, episode 3, I think, or something like that. And I was watching him sitting there um, because he did ask he asked me quite some time back if I wanted to go up and help him paint that army, um, which I couldn't at the time because it was like school holidays and stuff. And so it's this 40k Custodes army. There's lots of gold and red, and I just see them sit there painting all the. Just all the gold, and then it's just all the red, and it's tons of miniatures, and it's just the red, and then it's just the boots, and but I think I would probably go nuts doing that for an army. Like just I'm just going to paint red for today, and tomorrow, and then the repetitiveness just is not something I enjoy, which is why my latest army is I don't think there's the single miniature that has the same color scheme as the other. It's just a mess. It's like a chivalry, medieval knights kind of a thing, but they're Stormcast Romans. It's confusing. But I'm having fun. But that's why it sort of takes a year as well. Whereas Emil got his army painted in like 4 days. That is a big difference. Gary Jensen can't find his glasses either. Marcus says Adeptus Titanicus is effectively a skirmish game, can have a 2 to 4 hour game with 4 to 5 Titans on each side. It's a lot of Titans. And how big is the space? You didn't say. I'm curious. And Martin says maybe 10 to 20 minutes aside, which is for the Lord of the Rings thing. Yeah. So that's not too bad. Adrian says playing a smaller game and you love the setting, and it's fun to it's fun to build everything for two to play, and then if someone gets interested, you don't have to wait for them to get their stuff painted. Yeah, sure thing. And especially if you like really get into it and you do all the terrain and stuff anyway, you then yeah, it's just the full kit. You got the terrain, the 2 armies. Daniel Nordström, hello Daniel, asks me if in Swedish if I've tried Green Stuff World's dipping inks, which I believe is their sort of contrast style paint. And no, I haven't. Green Stuff World has been known to send me things in the past, but not so much anymore. I asked them for something specific, and they sent me tons of things that I haven't really used because I haven't had the right projects. And so I'm not sure if they sort of enjoy sending me things just because they sent me so much and I just haven't used it. They sent me a ton of their paints, and I honestly got to say that they're not my style of paints. There's different paint brands for different paint styles and for different people, and everyone enjoys different type of paints, and they just are not type of paint. But I don't know how the dipping inks are. I mean, it's supposed to be sort of like a contrast style paint. And I have no idea. I don't really use contrast style paints all that much. I usually I use a black one called Black Templar, I think, from Games Workshop, and that's kind of it. I use the contrast medium a lot. I like the medium, but yeah. Stephen Bin says, I found bulk painting less appealing over time. I used to try painting space orc squads, but it burned me out. Focusing on single models is definitely how I paint now. Dungeons and Dragons and Infinity usually. Yeah, I'm the same. I'm actually, I mean, I really should try and like paint, because I used to paint squads at least, and now even that is I'm just down to one mini at a time, and I really should, for my own sake, try and get back to squads in some cases, just to actually get things on the table, because I do like to play the games. I need to find a sort of in between. Martin says, so we shouldn't expect a 52 miniatures. I painted a whole army in 24 hours challenge video. No, but I have considered stuff like that. Not for the video's sake, but like, so let's say, for instance, if I would want to get into Conquest, which is what I believe the game is called, because it intrigues me. I like the miniatures a lot. And I don't know, there's just something about it. It's stuck in my head, and I'm like, maybe I want to play Conquest at some point. Then I will definitely need to paint 2 armies, because I don't know anyone who plays Conquest, and that would maybe be a time where I should try and like not paint an army in 24 hours, but at least try and paint it in a week, or something like that. So that it's not just this impossible thing, that it's not like, okay, so that's, if I decide that now, then I'll get to play Conquest in a year. But I still need to finish my Stormcast army first, and the Stargrave crew, and finish my MDF terrain. Then I'll think upon it. Hello, John. I almost missed you there. Why are you throwing lightsabers at me? Is that still because we're challenging each other for we had a challenge. I can't remember. We were going to play Age of Sigmar together, but you live in the wrong, or I live in the wrong country. But we should do that. I'm glad to see you anyway. Ninjon, by the way, if you haven't checked out his channel, you should. He's a fabulous fella. TFTF says the YouTube content creators world seems very small. It is very small. I believe it reflects the size of our hobby compared to like computer games, but it is pretty small. There's always, if you want to reach someone that makes miniature painting videos, it's usually quite easy. And as it usually turns out when you talk to them, it's like, oh, you're actually a really nice person. You're not just pretending to be nice in the videos. And we all have lots of great things in common, like we like miniatures, and so usually we get along pretty well as well. But no, it's a very small community of creators because uh, in the scheme of things, it's a small hobby. Tom says, "Hey Alex, currently scratch building sci-fi terrain by recycling the mounds of rubbish I've been hoarding while waiting to move house. Now I have hobby space, and it's a fantastic mess." I mean, were you just hoarding just random rubbish, or was it actually miniature related rubbish? Um, or have you at least sort of like I mean, you're not building houses out of banana peels. That's sort of what I'm asking. Um, but no, I mean, trash is a great source of building materials. Um, there's no doubt about it. I every time I get um, you know sent something, it comes in a box, and I'm like, I should say this box. I could build a house out of this box, but then at some point I throw out the boxes because I need to be able to move in here. But no, trash is great. One of my favorites is actually like cans, especially I don't know. There's a brand here. Uh, you buy like tomatoes in a can, and the can is slightly sort of like corrugated, um, and it's kind of a bit hazardous to cut that thing open with like metal scissors and flattening out that thing. But once that's done, it's just great to build with, and it's already sort of corrugated, um, and I love that. It's a bit sharp, and you need to sort of file the edges, but that's a favorite trash uh, that I must confess to having like half a cupboard in the kitchen just with washed out empty tomato tins. Um, but yeah, John asks, how many minutes did you lose taking the tops off empty paint bottles? That would be from yesterday's video. Probably 5 or 10 minutes. No, not really, not 10, but a lot. I mean, if it wasn't for me, it was not a speed painting challenge or anything like that. It was a slight gimmick, just because I wanted to do something for Max and these lovely miniatures that we've been looking at. I mean, just look at them. Whoa, that's a strange miniature. Okay, enter. Let's see what happens. Time zone. Okay, sure. Oh, this is strange. You better watch me instead. Okay, so we'll just turn that camera off, and when things don't really work out well with gear, just be nice to it. Usually, it's nice back. Anyway, Max's lovely miniatures. I wanted to do something because I think not only do I think the miniatures are great and love uh, Saint Decent's sculpting, I think the concept is great, and I think Max is, you know, it's all. I'm trying to say it's all great, and I didn't. I mean, I only had like I could do something in one day, and my videos take a long time to make, so I could, you know, there was never an option of making a regular video, but I thought, okay, so I can, if I just paint one, I'll sit down now and paint it for 28 minutes, and then I'm done. And so I just put some paints down and I started to record pretty much. And if I would have been smart, I would maybe and actually wanted to reach some kind of goal. Like there was no goal. There was no how nicely can I paint a miniature in 28 minutes? Nothing. I was just actually kind of surprised at even just covering it with paint. But I didn't really have a plan. I thought, I'll have some blues and some greens, and took down some paints. If it would have been an actual sort of speed challenge, I probably would have planned the color scheme and filled my wet palette already with paint. I'm probably not wet blended so much. Not since I covered the whole thing with all paints anyway. How much in the chats? Where's the chat? Oh, we've got my German viewer, Girl Painting, is here as well. Hello, how are you? I hope you're well. We're soon running out of time. My time says there's about 3 minutes left, and so I'll try and read the rest of what's in the chat, and then we're probably done. Ninjan says, yes, duel to the miniature death, as if it were. Once our paths cross, there can be only one Highlander. And now I see what you mean about the lightsaber. See, I'm not really paying attention to things, but yes, I have a lightsaber. I can probably swap if I want to be, if I want to be good or bad, or whatever you want to call it. Let's be a bit more Darth Vader-y, shall we? There we are. Do I need to dim it because it looks awfully bright? It's a little bit Darth Vader-y, don't you think? Vroom, 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 vroom. That kind of a thing. Kind of cool. There'd be a nice ending of me looking like some kind of person in hell with the glow. But yes, we should definitely duel at some point, John, in some way. Alvana says, I have a Conquest Mini bought because it looks cool, and I know in my heart I'll never play the game. I'm trying to convince my heart to play the game. But yes. Martini78 says, hope to meet you at Alpha Spell one day. We probably will. I'm there more than I should. Yeah. Martin asks, how are the potential plans for an Alpha Spell workshop going? Did you have to ask me, Martin? Oh, all these things that I say that I should be doing, that I really want to do, but never sort of do. Weight upon my crooked back. But no, I should sit down and plan that because I really want to do it, and they really want to do it, and it would be awesome to have I've been talking to my local friendly game store of holding workshops, and with everyone's aboard, I just need to plan it, and I want to plan it rather well because I'd hate for people to pay and go to a workshop and it would be this for 2 days. No offense to my yeah, you know what I mean. It can't just be me sitting there rambling. There needs to be a plan, and so I just need to sit down and plan it, and then we can have a workshop. Daniel Nordström's asking me, do you only paint figures for games, or do you paint other minis as well? I try to mainly paint miniatures for games because I want to play the games, and if I paint many miniatures that are not for games, then I never get to play the games. That being said, like lately, I've been doing the little Space Marine dioramas, if you've seen those videos. The series is called Making Money Painting Space Marines. And so that happens quite a bit. Other dioramas as well, because I like doing dioramas. I also get sort of sponsored videos where someone wants me to sort of paint their miniatures or whatever, and that can be, random miniatures that maybe I won't use for other things. Sometimes it can sort of fit into what I do, but I don't get sponsored content from Games Workshop, and I mainly play Games Workshop games, so that doesn't really work out. Um, that was sort of an answer. Okay, let's see. You're all having a wonderful time in the chat, so I kind of feel bad of ending all this, but I probably should. Uh, Girl Painting says, "Wait, 3 minutes? I have so much to say in so little time." Yes, I'm sorry, but that's. I've been here for 2 hours. Um, and I'm feeling about done. Wonderful to have had a Thursday evening with you. This went pretty well. I'm not sure if it's going to be a permanent change from Sundays to Thursdays. I think maybe more it's just nice to be able to be flexible. And I know my original thoughts on sort of streaming on Sundays was like, it's great if it's always the same day, because then people will know that, oh, today's Sunday, Alex will be streaming. As it turns out, I sometimes like to have my Sundays doing other things. And so today was a Thursday, and I thought I could stream today. And I think maybe this is a good way of doing things, because the less I feel that this is, something I have to do, the better it is for me. And, you know, I do like to enjoy myself. That's the whole point of this thing, I think. So, yeah, thank you all for joining in. It's been a pleasure, as always. You're all great. Thank you for all the support. And, if you're the least bit curious, check the link in the description for Turnip28, Turnip28, a Kickstarter for miniatures for Turnip28. If it's something you like, please support. Max is a great fellow. If not, then thank you for taking your time taking it out. Have a good evening. Bye.